In this lecture, I'm going to talk about user interface and its history. What is user interface? The user interface UI in the industrial design field of human-machine interaction is the space where interactions between human and machines occur. For example, in our computer system, we have hardware and then software, system software, we call it kernel, can be Linux and Unix, something like that. And the human side, we have user, the graphic user interface, and the display server and window manager. These three parts called user interface. Behind the machine away from the user. The KDE Plasma, Aqua, or this GNU Shell, or X11 are called the interface. Human, we have sensing organ. We have brain, eye, ear, hand, and speaking voice, and oral speaking voice. And this sense organ will work with the hardware, and those hardware take input to the system and it convert it to hardware, and then send out a signal to the display part for output, and we have other sense organ to pick up those signals. And right here is a complete set of the user interface. It has a lot of things, including the display, speaker, and gamepad for the output. And we have the keyboard, mouse, gamepad, joystick, microphone as the input. And system side with the software as kernel. And also we have the API or some service programs like OpenGL, the graphic language, to help you to perform some functions. Now, let's look at the history of the user interface. The first user interface is the command line interface. Command line interface evolved from batch monitor connected to the system console. Their interaction model was a series of request-response transactions. So it's basically like Q&A sections, with requests expressed as textual commands in a specialized vocabulary. Sometimes we call it keywords. Latency was far lower than for batch system, dropping from days or hours to seconds. In the old days, the batching system is using cards, so it's quite slow. So nowadays, we still have the Windows command line or some program like Python. It has the interpreter. Both of these are considered as the request-response model or Q&A model for the command line interface. So the UI design is text-based, hardware is keyboard, event is enter key. A brief history of user interface, text-based full-screen navigation. After the command line interface, people start to think about, can we perform some user interface in a whole screen? So they come up with such a window-like text-based screen. But actually, each of the blocks consists of one letter. Sometimes it's just space, or sometimes it's a slash, or some bracket, or some brace. And most of the information shown are just characters. So user interface is a text-based full-screen navigation model. So you can put somewhere here to enter some input. And the hardware is keyboard, mouse, and console, that's the screen. An event has up, down, left, right, home, end, page up, page down, tab, enter, and other keys. And also has the mouse click. The third one we would like to introduce is the desktop window-based UI. After the full-screen user interface, people start to think about whether it's possible to use Windows. So right here, I show you the old Windows 3 system, and also the Unix, Linux, X11 Windows. And both of them are Windows. At this time, the main input device are still mouse and the keyboard. And the output device are just the screen. And the system side, you have the X server and X client. Those X clients are facing the user, and inside there you have screen, mouse, and keyboard as the main hardwares. And AWT Swing is a technology of desktop and HTML-based age. And they are put into use at about the same age when the desktop window starts. And right here we talk about the next one, that's a touch panel-based user interface. So here there are several different hand gestures, hand function, hand gestures, finger gesture, finger movement that can perform as a input function. So from command line to graphic user interface to this natural user interface. The next one is the responsive user interface design. Recently, we have a lot of different mobile devices and the pad and the watch and cell phone. These require more advanced responsive GUI design. That means you have one GUI design, but that can be adapted to different devices of different size. So JavaFX is invented for this generation, and it is a HTML CSS system, but it does not gain popularity. We'll talk about this later. And Swing can be embedded in the JavaFX. JavaFX main feature it supports FXML, the FX markup language similar to HTML, and it has 2D, 3D design, and also using CSS. And it provides more animation and effect that's missing in Swing package. And also it has the embedded web pages. And it is platform independent. But lucky enough, the Swing can be used into the JavaFX system, and we will show this later in other lectures. So right here I show you the different user interface generation, and hope this will help you when you study our course. Thank you. Bye.